Hey everyone, Raffy here. This week's episode had some technical difficulties during recording. Unfortunately, you did miss out on some great content. My guest coming up, Kevin Neidig, has multiple services available on his website, kevinneidig.com. There's Riff Monkey, which is sound slice sheet music, and he also has a subscription service called Instrumental Monthly. There's a lot to see on his website, so I highly recommend visiting it. Again, that's Kevin Neidig, KevinNeidig.com. Now, on with the show!
studioblueradio is proud to present Raffa Music Show by Raffaela Madaffari.
Check the microphone! Hi everyone, welcome to the Raffa Music Show here on Studio Blue Radio. I'm Raffy, and today I have a very special guest, Kevin Neidig. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, good to be here.
Good to have you. I'm excited to have more of American musicians on my show. So you are from Pennsylvania, and have you, throughout your musical career, have you always stayed in Pennsylvania, or have you lived elsewhere and then moved back?
I lived in Nashville for a little while, for a very little while, but I've mostly lived here in Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania is the only state that I'm aware of that people that are from Pennsylvania don't say they're from Pennsylvania; they say they're from PA. Mm-hmm. You know, so
yeah.
if you're out of the country and you say, I'm from PA, they're like, well, where's that?
Well, if you're out of the country and say, you're from Pennsylvania, they'll still be like, well, where's that? It's like, oh, I'm from New York.
Yeah, New York. That's right.
Awesome.
Close.
So, yeah, it is. See, I'm from New York originally, so I can still say that I'm from New York. But
right, there you go.
So have you been playing music your whole life? How did all this start for you?
I started when I was 3.
Oh, nice.
I started playing the keyboard when I was 3, and moved on to drums from there. Actually, I was playing the snare drum I think it was 6th grade I started, and playing in school band and orchestra and stuff like that. And I got very frustrated with it. It was, I'm so glad that I had that just rhythm training in my musical knowledge abilities, because, I teach guitar, a whole bunch of different things. And so a lot of people, they don't have that rhythm training, and it's very difficult to get them to see the significance of rhythm and how to count rhythm and things like that. So that was very important to me. And at the same time, I would play the drum. You're a kid, you're learning something, and you want to show off to the family, right? Look what I'm doing. Look what I can do. And so I would play. And when you practice drums, it's all rudiments. If you're not familiar with rudiments, it's the exercises of drums. So you have these little couple of measures of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so family would come over, aunts and uncles, and I'm like, oh, Kevin, bring out your drum and play for everybody. Okay, cool. Bring it out, set it up. It's a big, arduous task to get it all set up. Turn the snares on, get your music out, and then I start playing. And a couple of beats into it, they start talking amongst themselves, and they're just ignoring me. Yeah.
Oh man.
And so I would just stop and just pack up my stuff and just politely leave and just go. This stinks.
Yeah.
and so I would see everybody that played an instrument that had melody to it. they got all the attention. You know, that's what everybody wanted to hear. Even though obviously drums are important, the rhythm is important, but man, they got all the attention. So I was like, I want something I can do melody on. And my grandfather played. He knew like 3.5 chords, and my dad played. He knew like power chords on the guitar, and but it was just, you know, nothing professional or anything, but just, you know, just a little bit enough to be dangerous on the guitar, you know. And so I was like, I want to do that. So that's, my grandfather showed me my first couple of chords on the guitar, and I picked it up really fast. You know, within the first hour, I was playing songs on the, you know, G, C, D7 kind of stuff on the guitar, and I didn't think anything of it until, you know, a little while later when I started teaching. I mean, students would take like a year sometimes to do what I was doing in an hour. So it's like, oh wow, like I've got something, or else everyone else is stupid. But that's definitely not the case. But it was just something, and I think basically playing the keyboard at 3, all those years of like immersion into music, you know, allowed me to kind of pick it up, because my brain was sort of being wired in that direction, right? So, you know, it's like I've always been into it. It's not my whole life, but obviously I started at 3, but I moved from drums to guitar to banjo, mandolin, singing, basically anything that has strings on it. That's what I love.
Awesome. That's so cool. What would you say is your favorite stringed instrument to play?
Definitely
like just
guitar.
To jam on. Guitar?
Oh yeah. I mean, hands down, it's the most portable, most versatile, best sounding. It's just, I mean, the guitar is incredible. I mean, it's no reason why, like, almost everybody has at least something, or they've strummed it, you know what I mean? Like, if you ask somebody, like, did you ever play a saxophone? You know, most people are going to go, no. But if you say, like, have you at least strummed a guitar? Most people are like, yeah, you know, a friend of mine had one, or whatever, my parents had one. But it's funny, too, because to me, guitar is one of the hardest instruments to master. But it's, like, everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. It is really hard, though. I tried last summer, and it didn't go too well. So I gave it back to Bethany. It's hard. It's hard, isn't it? It really is. And also, like, I'm a massage therapist, so, like, developing the calluses on my fingers, I'm like, can't really do this, but... That's right. You'd be, like, putting scratch marks all over your client's backs. Right? Yeah, exactly. You would consider your genre Americana? Yeah. For some of our listeners that might not be familiar with that genre, could you explain it to them? So, if you think about anything that is called American music, you know, jazz, folk, bluegrass, rockabilly fits under that, blues, any country music, you know, there's all this. I mean, there's so much music that has kind of like its own genre in the States here. I mean, it definitely didn't come out of itself. I mean, you know, like you had people like when the explorers and stuff came over, you had the European music and the Celtic music and all that stuff that blends in, and you know, and then New Orleans, you have the slaves and things that had been brought in there with the start of the blues and stuff, and then that was kind of taken and morphed in with the Appalachian music, and you know, bluegrass comes out, turns into country music, jazz, things like that. So to me, that is like the biggest kind of catch-all phrase, because I'm influenced by all of that stuff and more. I mean, influenced by classical music, obviously the Celtic music in there too, jazz. But it's like I kind of do like the singer-songwriter thing, mostly like as I perform, and my albums are like that. But if you listen to them, you can hear oh, there's the bluegrass influence. Oh, there's the jazz influence. There's the gypsy jazz influence, which is not under the Americana, but all of those things go in there. So I just love music, and anything that's good, I just take it, How do I use that in my own music? And
Absolutely.
And how do I get those sounds, even like electric stuff? I'm a big metal fan. I grew up on heavy metal. I mean, I play acoustic instruments pretty much exclusively.
Right.
But I still hear those sounds. Like my favorite guitar player is Marty Friedman from Megadeth and like Dream Theater and so those sounds are in my head. And sometimes they come out in my acoustic guitar playing because it's in there. That's what I'm hearing.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's really awesome. Cool. Hey guys, Raffy just popping in right here. I just wanted to say that this is kind of where we started having those technical difficulties. So my audio is going to change, but Kevin's will not. And don't worry, because although we're in a completely new conversation, you did not miss anything of importance. So enjoy the rest of the show. There's so many interviews that you hear with musicians where the interviewers, it's very like cut and dry, black and white, and you don't really get to know the artist for the person that they are. You just get to know them for the music. And so I like to have kind of a mix of both, in my interviews, because everybody's people.
Well, that's right. Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right. I listen to things. I listen to interviews and sometimes they just, when it's just an advertisement, it's like, okay, well, who cares?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So you've won awards. Let's talk about that.
Well, I won, I think a couple of different times there were some competitions that I had done. I won a couple awards for vocals. I had won a couple of awards for clawhammer banjo. You can see I have one banjo there and my other one there. Wow. You won't see it on the podcast, I guess, but
no.
But this is the one here that I won the awards on.
That's really cool. It's like, is that transparent?
The head that's on it, it's like a banjo has a drum head on it.
Right.
And this particular head, I think it's called a fiber skin. Mm-hmm. So it's not a real skin head. Like I've got a couple of old banjos, one that I just restored. Probably it's at least 100 years old.
Oh wow.
And it has, I'm pretty sure it's goat skin, so it's got a goat skin head, and I think my other one has a goat skin head on it. And they're really temperamental because like the humidity changes and the temperature changes, and anybody that has like a real skin drum, like some of like the Native American drums are like that. Mm-hmm. Some days they'll sound really high pitched, and then some days they'll just sag, and you got to keep at it, right? So they sound fantastic, but they're a real pain in the butt because you're always got to tune the head. If it's raining outside, next thing you know, everything's sagging, so you got to tune it up. And
right.
So the fiber skins are synthetic, and they're not exactly clear. Like you can see, there's a little. It's not completely see through, but
right.
It's got like a little bit of a yellow tint to it. Mm-hmm. You can see through it, but it's not really. And this one's, well, that one, that one's the same way. It's just a different brand, but they're both fiber skin. So they have sort of the same sound qualities. I know this is getting nerdy about banjos, so who cares about banjos?
I care about banjos. I'm the one who asked the question because I've only seen the classic ones. I've never seen one with those fiber skin heads on them.
Okay, yeah, and these are open back banjos, so that means like if you